Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. Welcome back to HR Week 2021. But of course, you know that because many of you have been with us, with me and with us throughout the day. If you just joined us, welcome to this fantastic event of day. This is day one of a 5-day event, and that's right, 5 days of listening to me and listening to getting involved with so much content, so many insights, debates, discussion, all to do with rethinking the HR strategies that you and your companies are actually putting forward as well. So here's the thing. This is a 1 week event naturally, and it's overflowing, jam-packed with content. But here's the thing. The HR community, part of the HR world, the HR community is actually a community that has so many benefits of joining. So the HR community is all through the year, all about articles, all about discussions, all about member-only videos, all about insights. So again, if you like this week, if you're enjoying this day so far of all the content that's been sharing, and we'll naturally be doing the same thing over the next 4 days until Friday, it might be a good idea just to pop over to the HR Cafe, and you'll see the HR World Cafe. Have a look at that. Have a look at all the benefits you can get by becoming a member as well. And also, right now, I believe there are quite a few discounts for HR Week attendees as well. Well worth checking it out. Again, if you're enjoying what this week is offering you, certainly you'll be able to enjoy the content that HR content that is spread over a whole year will give you as well. Let's move on. So, how to play the strategic HR game. I say that to you. Some of you are already saying to yourselves, I know how to play the game. I'm pretty good at it. Some of you are questioning yourselves perhaps, and some are just looking for some ideas, a little bit of a navigation and suggestions as well. In this next panel discussion, hopefully we'll find a few more ideas to take us to at least the next step. So let's invite the moderator who's going to shape this discussion certainly in the right way. Please welcome to our virtual stage HR Director of 3Bank, Sonia Ivkovic. Sonia, are you there?
Hi everybody. How are you?
I'm fine. I'm sure we're fine now. We're even better now that we've seen you. We can hear you.
Thank you very much. I did my hair for today.
You did your hair for today?
I did my hair especially for today.
Especially for today. I said to myself, Sonia's done her hair today. It looks absolutely beautiful. Right. What will happen now? I will give the floor to you towards the end. If we have any questions from our viewers in terms of what you've been discussing, I'll come back on, ask those questions to everybody, and then we'll wrap up. How does that sound?
It sounds great. Thank you very much. So
okay, over to you, Sonia, with an amazing hairstyle.
Well, thank you very much. Hello, everybody, once again. If you want to know how to play the strategic HR game, I can say that you are at the right place, or to say on the right link. But it's my great pleasure, I have to say this, but not only for myself, but in behalf of all our present panelists that will I introduce shortly, that we are really glad to be here to share some thoughts and answer some questions or raise some questions, and to thank the whole HR team that you are keeping the standards and keeping them really high when it comes to HR development in Serbia. But without further delay, I will introduce short our panelists for today, having in mind that their professional experience is quite admirable. So please welcome Marina Rakic, Group HR Director coming from MK Group. Hi, Marina.
Hi, hello, Sonia, and hello, everybody. I'm very happy to be here with you today.
Well, thank you. I have to share the situation that we had some technical difficulties. So if something of that we somehow manage, then will Milena Marinkovic join us afterwards. But if no, I will introduce with great pleasure Marko Babic, Vice President of HR and Organizational Development and Executive Board Member, from Delezi. Hello, Marko.
Hello. Very nice to be with you today as well. I have to say that I didn't do my hair, but I'm very happy. To be with you on this panel.
Well, thank you for that. So we will start. If some miracle happens, Milena will join us. She's the Chief Human Potential Officer coming from Maestro Solution. But if no, we will do in terms of show must go on. So you as my guests today and a little bit of me, we will try to bring some interesting points of view, provide some comprehensive answers, but also raise some important questions of HR practices of today. Are we all okay with that?
Absolutely.
Sure.
Absolutely. To shake the things up. So when I was thinking about this panel, the name, the topic is strategic HR, but it came to my mind like strategic HR. What does it really mean? But could you please explain me like I'm 5? And I will give the advance to Marina.
Thanks a lot. So if we talk about strategic HR, I think that in the last couple of years, we have finally moved from processes and procedures into more organizational changes and culture and people's potential. So if you would 5, I would say that one of the key roles for HRs is to understand each individual in the organization and what each individual can contribute in terms of value, personal growth, organizational growth, and further advancement within the organization that can push the organization forward. So I think that what I like about strategic HR and in which direction strategic HR is moving is going from collective to individual approach. Thanks to technology, we are now able with certain analytics tools and also artificial intelligence more and more to actually approach each individual in terms of what their development needs, what trainings are needed, what we need to do in terms of compensation and benefits, what we need to do in order of career changes, advancements, and so on. So before, HR was very much focused to have everything when it comes to procedure, when it comes to processes, to have everything in line. The problem with this was that we have looked entire organization the same way. With the technology and the different approaches that we are using now, we are able actually to go for each individual and say, okay, this is the potential of this individual. These are learning needs, and this is what we can do as an organization. So I think that this gives us, I would say, the strategic role in each organization, because we can understand what are the business needs, and then we can match these business needs with what are the potential of people and how people can contribute to the success of the organization. So I believe if we say that HR is the strategic role, I would say this is the key role of HR. So what are the business needs? What are the people potential? What are the gaps? How we can identify these gaps and how we can help organization move forward, looking at each individual in the organization. So, yeah, this is the shorthand.
Thank you very much, Marina. Marco, what do you think? Do you agree, disagree, have something to add?
Yeah, so I think everything that Marina said is, let's say, really correct. While listening, I was thinking, on some different parallel, because you asked like, how would you explain it if I was 5? So I was thinking, like a parallel, if you to talk with, a son or with a daughter, and to explain, like, imagine you go to, shopping mall to buy a toy, and you go with a brother and a sister, and then everyone, start asking for a different toy, and then you have the CEO beside, who is of course mother, and the mother, gives you the role to resolve it, and actually then you come to conclusion that compare like the different let's say requests from the children, and try to align it into one vision, and then at the end you end by purchasing some game for all. So maybe this is not really the best parallel, but I think the message is that it really depends on the HR individual how the function will be, positioned in the company. And of course, the CEO plays a very important role in this positioning. But I think that we in the HR, we simply need to show that we are able to understand and to understand the overall business strategy, and then to craft the HR strategy and the people agenda around that business strategy. And then the business simply starts to recognize the direct added value that HR is actually bringing, and then it goes easy. So I think what Marina reflected in a way, in the past, the HR was usually busy with some tactical things, like I would call it like firefighting, and maintaining the status that the basic needs and are running well, and that people are having these basic tools and processes. And more and more, of course, HR is sitting on the board level, and this is something we will discuss in the next minutes. So I think HR needs really to find time and space, to be strategic, to really liaise with the business and to understand the strategy, and then to craft the people agenda around that.
Mm-hmm. So thank you, Marco. I will try to translate it into language of five. So with your example, like, would it be if me and my brother went to a toy store, and I want a doll, of course, and he wants a car, but our mom buys a Monopoly, so two of us can play together.
Exactly. And yeah, and then the engagement goes up,
of course. Yeah. So joking on one side, but of course there is some similarity in real life. So as you somehow announced C level, or if we say executive board members, finally we have an CHRO. In years before, we had CEOs, COOs, CTOs, or whatever CEE roles. But in these days, we have also CHRO. So that's some kind of modern, I would say, role. It's not a usual or common role. I think that is some kind of, I would say, recognition that we can, of course, bring something to the table of strategic decisions. But how the role of modern HR, you mentioned something of that, how the role of modern HR looks like today, and are we really engaged in strategic questions? What do you think, Marco?
Yeah. So I think that we are all, let's say, witnesses that more and more companies are really recognizing the HR role as a board member, executive committee, executive board, whatever is the wording. And I think that is really important, not because I'm a fan of big titles or something like that. I think it's important for two reasons. We need to be, let's say, excellent and excellent in the functional, let's say, HR knowledge, of course. But then CHRO has two roles. One is functional role, and then the other is the board role. And the board role is even more important, and that is, going beyond the functional HR role. And this is actually, being able to really contribute to the overall business strategy. First of all, to understand it, and then, as I said, to embed people strategy into the business strategy, and to play important role in the cascading of the company culture and creation of the company culture, and to be, let's say, the really strategic business partner for the executive committee. And then simply that role in the board really fits its purpose.
Okay, thank you. Marina, what do you think?
Well, I would say that we do not have any choice left. Companies will either implement the new ways of working and focus on HR and people agenda, something which is strategically important, or they will lose their market share or their position on the market. The thing is, what is happening now. And I'm speaking as part of MK Group, and I'm sure that Mark will agree with me as part of Deleza, that we have more and more issues in finding people and finding talents for the roles. And I'm not talking about managerial roles. I'm actually talking about roles for all levels in the organization. We have a lot of people moving out. We have a huge level of people on the global level, mobile, right, that we never had before. So people going from one market to another. And of course, the talent war is happening on the global level. If we add technology into this, that you can actually sit in Serbia and work for any country in the world, then we have talents who are actually not on the market, but even though they are living in Serbia. So taking everything into consideration, focus on people, focus on potential, focus on the culture, the organizational culture, the changes of the culture according to the market changes is something which is becoming fundamental for each organization. And the role of HR is actually building and pushing this agenda. Is that if you're talking about the business, then who is going to do this? Who is going to execute the business strategy? These are the people. And then we need to make sure that we have the right people, that we are building these right people within our organization, that these people are happy, that they're going, because if people are happy, then they will go extra mile. So the business strategy is to be executed. And of course, then we will be able to be competitive on the market. Not people, but companies who do not understand this will soon find themselves into this talent war that they will not be able to compete on the market, and that's the problem. So you will, no matter how you're going to call the role, is it going to be HR director, CHRO, member of the board? It doesn't matter. But the thing is that you need to have the division or unit within the organization and the person who is going to be fully focused on the people agenda and whatever it goes with it. Because the markets are becoming more and more competitive. So this is the way how you're going to preserve the people that you have, which are good, and also attract the new ones. So I think this is that's why I'm saying I don't think that we have any choice. So for the companies who are thinking about it, implementation of HR roles is I would really suggest go for it, because you can lose much, but not focusing on this matter.
Thank you, Marina. Well, I would like to just add some my thoughts on this, because you said we do not have any choice left. Well, I would say that the company has no choice left, because at some point, like, people are the biggest challenge in nowadays. Some days before, maybe that was technology. Days before, maybe it was some kind of, I don't know, structure, or companies were young to make some strong structure, etc. But nowadays, I think that whatever type of business you are conducting, the people are the biggest challenge. No matter how many technology can replace, even though you have to have somebody who can maintain that technology or machines or whatever. So I think that this is the situation where HR is going to be maybe on the spotlight, because the biggest challenge comes from the people side. So I hope that we will use this opportunity well for everybody's sakes. Okay, well, when we are about these decisions, strategic and etc., those decisions sometimes can be very business-wise. But on the other hand, they might seem unpopular from employees' perspective. So should HR be the buffer? Who would like to answer first?
Yeah, I guess it's my turn. Yeah. Okay, I think you made a great introduction, in this question. And if you go from the perspective that the people oriented company, and that the people is in the center of everything what we do, and that at the end you can only rely on your employees in delivering your business strategy. I think that HR really plays the key role in cascading the company initiative in a way that employees understand what is going on, and why the changes are happening. So I think the HR really plays then a role of the change agent, where it's our responsibility to whatever is the change to implement it in a way that everyone really understand and can stay at the same path together with the company. And for this, I think it's really crucial that there is a high level of trust, high level of transparency, and let's say a really nice portion of time dedicated to direct communication with the affected employees. And then I don't see, let's say, that the HR is a kind of a buffer, because the buffer is like something you put between the rock and the hard place. I think then actually you are a kind of a, catalyst. At the end, you bring, let's say, more from that reaction. So I really see us as a critical change agent.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, I would definitely agree on this. I mean, HR is, I would not say HR, I would say the management team or the management board sometimes is making unpopular decisions, which needs to be executed. And then what Marco said, I believe it's very much crucial. Transparency and trust is something that actually transparency is something that is building the trust later on. And to this transparency to the people, I think it's very important. And I would also agree on the change agent part is that some changes are maybe not popular short term, but long term in the company's perspective, it would make sense. And this is something that HR together with the management team should explain to the people. So this is where transparency comes in, and later on trust. On the other hand, HR is expensive. So this is something that we need to be aware of. So people management, development, working on the culture, on the engagement, this is all quite expensive. So HR has double role in either direction, is to actually convince or explain to the owners, shareholders, management board, why certain expenses have to be made. Because otherwise, if we are not investing in the training, in the engagement, in the culture, then we can end up losing people, and the costs of that can be much higher. So I believe that the HR has this double role of the, I would say, we are kind of a network between the management board or the owners and the employees in both directions. So that's why I'm saying that companies need to make a decision if they're going into strategic HR play or not. And if they do, this decision is also has to be a decision of shareholders to say, okay, we will invest now some portion of our profits into people. So this is a decision, right? And then because when you do the calculation, if you do not invest in the people, then you will have to invest in something else and lose on the profits. So this is some calculation that you have to make as a company, and then make this strategic direction to go into that or not, and to be aware of, I would say, all the risks and implications.
In the both sides, both decisions. So thank you, Marco and Marina. Maybe we can conclude here that psychology of nowadays workforce is changing. For example, my parents were that type of generation that they were lucky to have the job that will last until the retirement. And when I was applying for my first job, it was a crappy job, but they told me like, no, but it's, it's not on temporary terms, it's for a lifetime. So it's a really good job. And I told them, but I don't see myself to be in one place like 50 years or how many years in front of me. But their thoughts and their like perspective was to keep it simple, play it safe, do not how can I say challenge something, just do it by the book. So at that day, I don't know, do you share this like common background with me? If not, lucky you. But on the other hand, in those days there was Serbian rule number 1. So it was like tie the horse where the boss tells you. I'm not sure how it's going to be from today, but I'm not really also sure that today is really different in a lot of companies. So, what should we as HR do when we disagree with the location of the horse? Marina?
Well, that's a good question. So if we talk about MK Group or MK Group, however, we're talking about most of the production companies. So very traditional business, very traditional industries, production of sugar, meat production, agriculture business, and so on. So even in these industries, we see we invest huge amount of money into the digitalization and automatization. If you're going into this process, then you need to have the people who are able to manage these type of processes, to lead these type of processes, and to work in a completely different environment. Also, if we see now a huge changes which are happening in the agriculture business, we usually think when we talk about agriculture, we say, well, this is traditional business. We're talking about IT companies, we're talking about financial institutions, and so on. But now we see very big changes in all industries. So there is not a single industry that we say this is traditional and we are going to work in a traditional way like we used to work 40 or 50 years ago. So that's impossible. So even if we're talking about production companies, very traditional industries, we see a lot of changes. We see a lot of digitalization, automatization, and of course, according to that, we need to have the people who are going to run it and who are going to lead it. So I would say that the successful organization is the organization where the board members do understand these changes and do work together toward the same goal. If there is a disagreement between the management and the HR on some basic issues, then you have not set up the cultural level properly. So you have the cultural problem or the values problem. So that's why we need to have, when we talk about the changes and we talk about the future and the strategic decision, entire board member or the management team on the same values level and the same cultural views, together, of course, with the owner or the shareholders, so we can go into these changes. Because if you have disagreement on this level, in which direction should we go, then you need to actually go step back and say, okay, what we want to achieve together as a team and where we want to go. So I would say that team which is working together, which has the same set of values or agreed set of values, then there is no disagreement in terms of direction or the people agenda. But as I say, I would repeat what Marko said, is that HR has the very important role in explaining why certain changes and investments are needed for the organization, both short term and long term. So there is also the important role of HR to say, this is the direction where we need to go, and this is the reason why we need to go. So if this happens and the management team is set to go into the same direction, then I don't see any issues coming up.
Of course, but what when you disagree personally, when you do not believe in those decisions?
I mean, sometimes you need to make a decision even when you do not agree personally with this. If it makes business sense and if it makes long-term sense, then of course you're going to go along with other members in your team. If you completely disagree with the direction in which company is going, then my recommendation, maybe you're not working in the right place. And of course, this is possible. HR is the function which I said, it's very expensive and it requires involvement of entire management team in order to work. So the main leader of the people agenda is the CEO. It's not HR. HR is actually pushing this people agenda and working on the strategy, but the entire board has to be on the same level when it comes to management and execution of that. So if you are completely in a disagreement with your team, then I would say you're not working in the right place.
Okay, well, completely, but sometimes there for sure could be some decisions that are not people oriented but profit oriented, and that's something that's happening. So in that case, like how to find the right measure of our attitude.
Well, if it goes along with the strategy and people-oriented strategy long term, then I think that these decisions then have to be made and explained to people in the right way, as we already talked about, even if you personally do not agree. And this happens. I mean, when I'm sure that all of us are part of some type of management meetings on the regular basis, and there is a lot of discussion on each topic, and sometimes we agree on this or disagree on that. What I'm saying is that these strategic principles and the cultural values principles that we work on should be the same. And some other decisions, yes, we can disagree. Sometimes you will have to do things that you disagree with personally, but are good for the business or having some different implications. And that is okay. As long as you are sure that the company is committed to going in a certain direction. So if you're not on the cultural level, same as your owner, shareholder, or the board member, or the CEO, then for me, this is the reason that maybe you should look in other direction.
Thank you, Marina. And Marco, just to say that we have 5 minutes more. So sorry, Marco, that I put you in this position. I have to talk fast because we will have to leave some time if there are questions. And we have only one, I would say, punchline for the end. So nothing much left.
Okay. So I think everything that Marina shared is really relevant. And I would just build further on that you should actually never found yourself in situation that the CEO tells you, like tie the horse where I told you, because it's already a kind of a signal, that something is wrong there. So I think that if you're really, play your strategic, let's say HR game on the strategic level, then you should never be put in that situation, because let's say a lot of pre-alignments should have happened, in order really not to end by, CEO telling you you will do this or you will do that. I'm strongly, thinking that your board role actually gives you, the space to avoid these kind of situations. But no dilemma that from time to time you can be there. And I think in these situations, your integrity is really, let's say, important, because if those are the decisions, which are, like Marina said, in line with the company culture, in line with the company values and principles, and you simply do not agree because you share the different vision on how that decision will affect on the people agenda, then you need to respect the hierarchy at some point. That is really important as well, because you need to share, you need to give example, in this respecting of the hierarchy. But on the other side, if that is something that goes against your values, or if it puts your integrity, on a gamble, then I really think you should, start thinking about the alternatives, and
practical advice.
But really, it's really simple. But again, I would underline that you should never be put in that situation. If the position is, if the HR role is positioned as it should be, then the CEO never puts you in that kind of situation.
Well, thank you both very much.
Yeah, and I would just add on something that that was really, let's say, coming through all our answers, let's say, and but your great questions as well. And I think that more and more companies are talking about something which is a CVP, like the customer value proposition. And in reality, you can't have the winning CVP without winning EVP, which is employee value proposition. So that is a really strong argument that you can always use whenever you see that, for example, some decision which is driven only by a profit or by the P&L, etc. You can always offset it with a simple question: how do you expect that we will have an extraordinary customer service if we do not have the extraordinary employee value proposition? So I think those two are really, let's say, relevant.
No. Thank you, Marco, very much. So we have 1 minute left. I will use then that minute wisely to send our love to Milena. Sorry that you missed us. And of course, I see that we are going now to be wrapped up. Thank you.
Yeah, I'm just looking. Yeah, Milena, who obviously couldn't be with us physically or virtually, she is there. She just can't be there. So I'm sure she's been listening, agreeing, and probably talking to herself.
She's typing us, so we are sending our love.
Absolutely, she's there in somewhere, and I'm sure she's been watching as well. So listen, thank you so much. Some great insights. Again, viewers, audience members, you've been listening, you've been focused on what's been happening and the insights that this panel has been sharing. Again, you're curious, you'd like to know more, maybe you'd like to link up with any of our panelists here, and I'm sure they'd like to do that as well. But in the meantime, all I have to say right now is thank you so much, Marco, Marina, and Sonia as well. Thank you for your expertise and naturally your time as well. And a big thank you to the hairdresser, to Sonia's hairdresser. A great job. She did a fantastic job. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
So we move on to our next session. In fact, towards the last session, would you believe it? The last session of the day, already gone through, I think, almost 20 different sessions today, all about strategic HR. So we will be doing this in about 2 minutes time, and simply we'll be jumping into the idea of teams and transformation, new leadership for a complex world. Join us in about 2 minutes for the final session of HR Week 2021 today.